Hare Krishna. Om Gyana Timirandasya Nangana Shalakaya. Om Gyana Timirandasya Nangana Shalakaya. Чакшуру Миритамина Тасмай Ши Гурувена. Шри Читаня Манавбистам Стапитмена Бутале. Свям Рупакадамахам Дадати Свапдантикам. Вандихам Ши Гуру Шута Падакамалам Ши Гурун Вашнивам Шча. Шрупам Саграждам Схагана Рагунатам Витам Тамсадживам. Садвайтам Савадутам Париджна Схитам Кришна Чайтаня Девам Ширада Кришна Падан Сахагана Лалита Шивишакам Витам Шча. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishapana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatya Deshatarine Namaste Sarasvati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now I will again try to read from the books Yes. Now I will read from Gaudyya Darsana. Jai Gaudyya Darsana. Jai His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Thakura Prabhupāda. Jai Shri Prema Prayojana Prabhu. This is, as you all know, a lecture of His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Thakura Prabhupāda. This is a first translation in English from Sri Prem Prayojana Prabhu. There are also, actually, this is not only translation of the lecture, there are also explanations, commentary from Sri Prem Prayojana Prabhu. The last time I was yes, I have reached the paragraph, the part from the text with the title. Let's see. Yes. Attentiveness to service is the only qualification for attaining auspiciousness. And the title of the next part of the text of the next paragraph is Aprakrita Krama Vikasha. Aprakrita Krama Vikasha Siddhanta, the principle of transcendental evolution. Aprakrita Krama Vikasha Siddhanta, the principle of transcendental evolution. In Western countries, the theory of evolution of the physical body has excessively elevated material science. However, India's theory of spiritual evolution has, with respect to the evolution of the service tendency, seva vritti, of the soul, revealed the transcendental science of the eternal Nam, Rup, Guna, and Lila of the Supreme Soul, who is ontologically the worthy object of our service, along with the Atma's service tendency in the contracted state, Sankuchita Avasta, the crippled state, Karva Avasta, the budding state, Mukulita Avasta, the blossoming state, Vikasita Avasta, and the fully blossomed state, Purna Prasputita Avasta, all the Paramatma's names, forms, etc., become manifested. The description of the avatars of Vishnu, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrishimha, Vamana, Parashurama, Rama, Balarama, Buddha, and Kalki, shows the evolution of the human heart. Sri Vamanadeva has the form of a small human being, dwarf, not the form of a complete male. Before Sri Vamanadeva, there is Sri Nrisimhadeva, Nrsimhadeva, Sri Nrsimhadeva, the combined form of half man, half lion, the king of animals. After the dwarf stage, there is the uncivilized or barbaric human stage, Parashurama. After that, the civilized or ethical human stage, Ram. After this, the unimpeded independence. Nirankusha Svechamayata of the human or the stage of full knowledge. Balaram. In Buddha, there is a stage of extreme sagaciousness, and in Kalki the stage of annihilation. The next part of the text, the next paragraph, has the title Worship of the material hero arises on the basis of impersonalism. We observe in the hero worship, Nayaka Puja, of those who endeavor to understand reality through sense perception, Adakshika Gana, an imitation of the eternal philosophers' science of the avatars. This hero worship has arisen from Nirvisheshavada, which is one type of atheism, Nastikya Vada. In imitation of the 24 avatars of Bhagavan, the worship of 24 Jina or Tirthankura are included within this Nayaka Puja. The Jnatiputra or Vardhamana, the worship of heroes such as Siddhartha or the Nirgrantha Vichara of the Jainas, the liberations or on detachment of the Shramanas, Buddhist or Jaina renunciates. Buddhist or Jaina renunciates. Shramanas, Buddhist or Jaina renunciates, etc., are founded on Achinmatra Vada, doctrine of exclusive inert materialism, or Shunyavada, nihilism. Whatever exclusive inert materialism or whatever worship of acharyas is seen on the basis of the Nirvisheshavada of the Mayavadis, that is also an especially atheistic doctrine included within the category of Nayaka Puja. The worship of ancestors and demigods performed by fruitive workers, karmis, and the worship of literature by the mundane literati are also included in Nayaka Puja. There is not even a trace of the worship of God, Bhagavat Upasana, or genuine theism, Astikata, in Karmavada because of the prevalence of the Dharma of the perishable body and mind, which are bound by the reactions of work. The followers of Charvaka worship. The followers of Charvaka worship the insentient material body as the Atma, with the purpose of opposing the worship of perishable heroes. The followers of Charvaka have described the karmis who worship the forefathers and demigods as charlatans, rogues, and demons. Furthermore, they compare the karmis concept of Vaikari, the power of speech, to a hunter's trap to catch monkeys and rats. In later times, Nashtikevada, atheism, Sandehavada, skepticism, Agnyatavada, agnosticism, have offered more oblations of ghee into the sacrificial fire of these types of empiricism. In Gaudiya Darshana, the worship of the avatars of Bhagavan is not included among these types of Nayaka Puja. The Gaudiyas do not worship any type of hero who is bound by the fruit of karma. Therefore, in Gaudiya Darshana, there is no arrangement for the worship of ancestors and demigods who are bound by the reactions of karma. Charvaka cannot attack Gaudiya Darshana. The philosophy of Charvaka reaches to the limit of the deprecation of the karmis. The philosophy of the Jnanis becomes exhausted value after its limit of Atani Rasan, the repeal, not this, not this. However, Gaudiya Darshana is a Dokshaja Darshana. Traversing beyond the deliberation upon the pious and impious karma of the karmis, beyond the repeal of the Jnanis, moreover, even crossing beyond the opulent perspective Aishvarya Vichara of the supernatural realm, only the complete service of the full independent, indisputed emperor of heroes, Ekachatra Nayaka Svarata, is the determining subject of Gaudiya Darshana. The next part of the text has the title Acharyas of the Middle Period, and I will continue with that the next time. Jai Gaudiya Darshana. Jai His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Ṭhākura Prabhupāda. Jai Shri Prem Prayojana Prabhu. Now I will again read from the Gayatri book of His Holiness Sachinandana Swami. Jai the Gayatri book. Jai His Holiness Sachinandana Swami. So the next part of the text of chapter 3 was faith in Guru. Faith in Guru. To remind the sadhaka of the substantial importance of the Guru in spiritual life, one of the Gayatri mantras is dedicated to Sri Gurudeva. It is only by the spiritual master's mercy that the disciple receives these mantras. Even after initiating the disciple and bestowing these mantras, the Guru continues to play a vital role in the disciple's life, offering further instruction and guidance in spiritual practice. Therefore, one should try to come closer to the spiritual master, remaining ever eager to learn from him. Mantra Diksha is known as Upanayana, a word with a twofold meaning. First, it means beyond brought closer to the spiritual master, Nayana leading. And second, opening of the spiritual eyes, Nayana eye, literally, that which leads the way. Both readings encourage the devotee who has either received mantra diksha or is aspiring for it to deeply reflect on his or her relationship to Sri Gurudeva and on the quality of his or her own discipleship. We should never forget that it is the mercy of a pure Vaishnava that removes the numerous obstacles on the path of spiritual elevation. And since the spiritual master is particularly destined to accept the devotional service of his disciple and direct it to the Lord, he can help them to advance in a relatively short time, provided they exhibit sincerity, and faithful surrender. Narada Muni stresses this point in his teachings to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the proper conduct of civilized men. After having offered numerous means and tips on how to become free of the enemies in the heart, lust, anger, and so on, and rise to the plane of Shuddha Sattva, he concludes, Etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hi andasha jayet. All this can be obtained automatically by serving the spiritual master with faith and devotion, Guru Bhaktya. This is a footnote. This is footnote number 16 for chapter 3. Yes. This is from Bhagavata Purana, that means from Srimad Bhagavatam 7:15-25. And here are written the qualities of a good disciple. In reflecting on the relationship with his or her spiritual master, a mature disciple will try to become more qualified. In the Uddhava Gita, Sri Krishna personally describes the qualifications of a bona fide disciple. So I have to think quietly because it's late. So, yes. Amanyamatsarudesu nirmano tridasulra asatvaru ritanina surana asuri amugava. Disciple must have the following qualifications. He must give up interest in the material bodily conception. He must give up material lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. He should be interested only in understanding the science of God and he should be ready to consider all points in this matter. He should no longer think, I am this body or this thing belongs to me. One must love the spiritual master with the unflinching faith. One must be very steady and fixed. The bona fide disciple should be inquisitive to understand transcendental subject matter. He must not search out faults among good qualities. He should no longer be interested in material topics. His only interest should be Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here's a footnote, number 17 for chapter 3. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.10.6. The above translation is from Srila Prabhupada's purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 24.330. You will find an even more elaborate list on page 219. 290, let's see. 219. Well, okay. When we reached page 219, then we will read this again. Let us now continue with the next paragraph, with the next part of the text. Six kinds of incompetent disciples. The scriptures mention six kinds of unacceptable disciples. Alirbhano Jyotisheka Shabdi Buddha Kimekaka Preshita Preshakisha Satete Sevakadam. So, this is actually this famous verse, yes, about the incompetent disciples. Let us see the citation. This is citation number 18 for chapter 3. This is, yes, okay, quoted from the True Spirit of Separation, Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, page 95. Okay, let's now read what are these. This is actually a famous verse which describes the disciples who are not very acceptable, how a disciple must not be. How a disciple must not be. Now I will read the translation. These are the six kinds of persons among the lowest sevakas, servants or disciples. Ali, those who are as fickle and unsteady as bees. Bana, those who talk back in protest, piercing their master like an arrow. Jyotishaka, those who procrastinate, who do not follow instructions immediately, but who wait and wait. Stabhi Bhuta, those who are lazy or inactive. Kimekaka, those who refuse to try anything on their own. Prashita Prashaka, Those who pass on the direct orders they have received from their guru to others without carrying out the order themselves. Such disciples often fail to see their guru with the spiritual vision and thus tend to find the fault in him. So we see this first type, Ali, those who are fickle and unsteady as bees. I have heard in a lecture, um, not from in from another Maharaj, from another Maharaj. I will not say who exactly, but uh, he was explaining actually about this verse, and um, he was explaining that this means Ali means those who are as fickle and unsteady as bees, those who go to other, who listen from others. For example, they have spiritual master, but they also listen to others, like bees who go to many flowers. So in this way, they collect nectar from many flowers. So this means somebody who is uh, actually uh, listening also from others, from other persons, not only from their Guru Maharaj. So this is this type of disciple which is not really a good disciple. So obviously a disciple should listen only from their guru. But for example, I would like to ask such a question actually, if for example a disciple has a diksha guru and many shiksha gurus, then this disciple hears from the diksha guru and from the shiksha gurus, and maybe this disciple sees everybody else as a shiksha guru, and then in this way this person also listens from others. So is that wrong? I don't know, but I would like, for example, to ask this question. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I will continue the next time with the next paragraph, which is dakshina, remunerating the guru. Maybe I will read it also. Yes. Well, I will read to the end. This the rest of this part. In this way, I will. Okay. Yes, I will read further here. Where was yes? Dakshina, remunerating the guru. We cannot estimate the value of a single instruction given for our guidance on the spiritual path by any material calculation. What to speak of trying to repay it with money? Still, in order to show gratitude toward the spiritual master and to solidify the sweet relationship with him, a thankful disciple should make a substantial attempt to satisfy and remunerate the Guru Dakshina. The following conversation between Krishna and his Brahmana friend and schoolmate Sudama illustrates this point. O Brahmana, do you remember what happened to us while we were living with our spiritual master? Once our Guru's wife sent us to fetch firewood, and after we entered the vast forest, a twice born one, oh twice born O twice born one. An unseasonal storm arose, with fierce wind and rain and harsh thunder. Then, as the sun set, the forest was covered by darkness in every direction, and with all the flooding we could not distinguish high land from low. Constantly beset by the powerful wind and rain, we lost our way amidst the flooding waters. We simply held each other's hands and, in great distress, wandered aimlessly about the forest. Our Guru, Sandipani, understanding our predicament, set out after sunrise to reach for us, his disciples, and found us in distress. Then he said, "O my children, you have suffered so much for my sake. The body, the body is most dear to every living creature, but you are so dedicated to me that you completely disregarded your own comfort." Then Sandipani Muni speaks the following important words. Itativa hi satkisha kartavyam guru nishkrita yadvaiva suda bhavina sarvatmana guru. This indeed is the duty of all true disciples, to repay the debt to their spiritual master by offering him with pure hearts their wealth and even their very lives. So this is citation 19 Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10:80-36 to 41. 36 to 41. Few devotees are affluent, struggling to pay their rent, so they may wonder how they can afford to remunerate their spiritual master. However, the dakshina that really satisfies the spiritual master is not paid in mundane currency. Sri Krishna explains this remarkable point to Uddhava. Dakshina Jnana Sandesha. Real renunciation to the spiritual master is to teach others the knowledge one has received from him. Note number 20, Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11, 1939. In this commentary on this verse, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura writes, the word jnana means that after experiencing the spiritual joy of kirtana, etc., one instructs one's own relatives and friends about his realizations. This is the real gift to the spiritual master and not donations of wealth, clothing, or whatever. This conclusion is in perfect line with the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. Dare deka Krishna Upadesha Amaragya Guru Hanatara Edesha. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Note 21. This is Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 7, 128. 128. Following this mood, Srila Prabhupada encouraged us to repay our debt to him by preaching vigorously, just as he did for his spiritual master. So the next part of the text has the title The Joy of Being a Brahmana. I will continue with that the next time. Jai, the Gayatri book. Jai, His Holiness Jahnava Swami. Now I will continue to read from the next book. This is A Place of Sandalwood and Roses from Govinda Dasi. Jai Govinda Dasi. Jai His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhānta Vrnda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. Jai, the book A Place of Sandalwood and Roses. I will again read this beautiful poem from Govinda Dasi, which she wrote to Srila Prabhupada. I have read it, I think, the last time and the time before the last time, and 2 times ago, and the last time also. And I would like to read it again because it's so nice. This poem, which Govinda Dasi has written for about her Gurudev, about His Divine Grace Abhay Charnara Vrinda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. Your room was my whole world, galaxy center of the universe, and you were all the people. There was no one but you in my world, shining as the evening wishing star. You were everyone and everything to me. So now I will continue with the acknowledgements. Thank you, dear Lord Krishna, for sending your super excellent devotees into this world to help struggling, conditioned souls. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for all that you have given us, your generations of disciples and grand disciples. In the early hours of November the 15th, 2008, I had a dream. Oh, actually, I have read this. I think I have read this. Or not? No. No, I haven't read it yet. Now I will continue. Well, I have read already the whole book, but uh, I mean, the last time I was in the part with the text before, but here this I haven't read yet. Here, so I will continue. So, in the early hours of the 15th of November 2008, I had a dream. It was not an ordinary dream, but one of those mystical dreams that are so real you feel as if you have stepped into an alternate reality of some parallel dimension. In the dream, I was sitting on the floor of the guest room in my home in Hawaii, just inside the doorway, and Hayagriva Dasa was sitting on the bed. Scattered before him were many printed pages of some sort of manuscript. There were also many printed pages stacked on the floor in front of me. He was leafing through this manuscript, and together we were discussing, adding, subtracting, and editing it. The dream ended, and as I awoke, I had the distinct feeling that Hayagriva had been sent to help me write my memoirs of Srila Prabhupada. I had been praying for guidance and direction for quite some time, but still I had no idea how to begin to write this book. It was as if Srila Prabhupada had answered my prayers and sent his star editor, Hayagriva Prabhu, to assist me. Almost immediately, I got out of bed and began to write. Sentences flowed out of my pen in what was the nearest thing to trance writing I had ever experienced, and it was in third person. I had never considered writing this book in third person. It was a surprise even to me. Page after page flowed out, giving me barely enough time to drink my morning herb tea. I began the envision series. I began to envision a series of 3 volumes. Book 1, I would cover most of the year. Book 1 would cover most of the year 1967, with the first when when I first met Swamiji and became his disciple. Book 2 would be about the year I spent traveling with him as his secretary and housekeeper in 1968. Book 3 would tell the story of being sent by Srila Prabhupada to open temples in Hawaii in 1969, and later his many visits his many visits to Hawaii, as well as traveling with him to temples in the US and India, including Kumbh Mela in 1976 and 1977. After a couple of hours, I became tired and turned my attention to breakfast and my morning puja. When I came back later to read what was written, I was not surprised to see that the style was very much like that of Hayagriva's own writing style. This may sound impossible or even outlandish, but truly we must consider that nothing is impossible in the realm of spirit. Hayagriva Dasa was one of Srila Prabhupada's earliest and most dear disciples. In the summer of 1966, he met Swamiji on a street corner in New York City. He had just returned from a fruitless trip to India in a search of a guru. It seemed his guru had found him instead. It's as if Krishna, the divine choreographer, had arranged everything. Hayagriva was a writer, editor, and poet, specializing in the American transcendentalists such as Thoreau, Whitman, and Emerson. He was also a tenured professor of English literature at Ohio State University. His editorial educational and editorial qualifications were excellent, and soon after their chance meeting, Swamiji requested Hayagriva to edit his Bhagavad Gita as it is and his Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus began a long and productive spiritual partnership wherein Hayagriva utilized his talents to serve his spiritual master Swamiji, later known as Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hayagriva Dasa passed from this mortal world in 1989. Thank you, Hayagriva Prabhu, for helping me, your younger god sister, to glorify our beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace Abhayacharana Vrnda, Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. With profound feelings of separation, I pray that you will approve of the way this book has turned out. My heartfelt gratitude also goes to my many god brothers and god sisters who have helped and inspired me in getting this memoir done. There have been so many dear devotees who have helped, such as my inspired and conscientious editor Dina Dayadri Devidasi, as well as Kriya Shakti Devi Dasi, Manjari Devi Dasi, Ashram Swami, Kusha Devi Dasi, Pranada Devi Dasi, Rupanuga Dasa, Achyutananda Dasa, Ṭhākur Haridas, and many others who have repeatedly hounded me to get my memories written. Thank you all. Most of the lovely photos in this publication, almost all of them taken by Gorasundar and Gurdas, were professionally scanned and painstakingly optimized for press reproduction by our expert god sister Nitya Tripta Devi Dasi of the Bhaktivedanta archives. Thank you, dear Nitya, for your dedication and giving so much of your time. Last but not least, I wish to thank my dear godbrother Atma Vidyadasa, whose prepress experience and graphic design skills rescued this book from drowning in tech hell. He brought it to life by designing pages, being meticulous about typography, and preparing the many delightful pictures of Srila Prabhupada and placing them beautifully. I think he has done a splendid job. I thank you. I thank every one of you, devotees of Srila Prabhupada, for your encouragement and inspiration. And I pray that this book serves to remind us all of the spiritual sweetness of Srila Prabhupada and those delicious days of sandalwood and roses. The next part is part 1, the past. The search begins. This is the title of the next part. The search begins, and I will continue with that the next time. Jai, the book, A Place of Sandalwood and Roses. Jai, Srimati Govinda Dasi. Jai, His Divine Grace by Jahnava Vrnda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. Now I would like to again try to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and his translation, the translation in English of His Divine Grace by Jahnava Vrnda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupada. And I have to sing, I have to sing very quietly because it's late. Well, it's not so late, but for singing it's a little bit, for loud singing it's a little bit late. So, yes. Maybe you will be not able to hear the electrical piano. Okay, let us see what it is. Okay. There's a big purport here. Okay. So okay. This Madalila 883, but I think I have read this, but I didn't read the purport yet. Yes, okay. So Madalila 883. Kintoya rasa se sarvutama tatastana vikarile acetaratama. Translation. It is true that whatever relationship a particular devotee has with the Lord is the best for him. Still, when we study all the different methods from a neutral position, we can understand that there are higher and lower degrees of love. And as I the last time said, actually, um, the highest love is the love of Srimati Radhika, Madanaki Mahabhav, or not Ujjvala Rasa. This is the highest love. This is the topmost pure devotee, Srimati Radhika. After her are the gopis of Vrindavan. So in this way we see how the women are better in devotion compared to the men. Women are better in devotion because the highest devotees are women. Of course, every person is um, um, loved from God, Krishna. Krishna loves everybody. Krishna loves everyone. But those he loves most of all are the pure devotees, and the topmost pure devotee is Srimati Radhika, and after her the gopis of Vrindavan, the other gopis of Vrindavan. In this way we see how actually women are better in devotion to Krishna, because the topmost pure devotees are women. Of course, there are also many very, very elevated devotees which are men, like for example Narada Muni and many others. Yes. So let us see now the purport of Śrīla of His Divine Grace by Vrnda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. Yes, and this that Srimati Radhika is the topmost pure devotee, and after her are the gopis of Vrindavan. This is stated in verse 10 of Śrī Upadeshamrita of Śrīla Rupa Goswami. Verse 10. So let us see here the purport of His Divine Grace by Vrnda Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. In this regard, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Ṭhākur explains His Divine Grace. Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Ṭhākur Prabhupāda explains that this verse does not advocate the whimsical invention of some methods of love of Godhead. Such inventions cannot be accepted as topmost. Indeed, such concoctions are not recommended in these verses. Śrīla Rupa Goswami has said in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 101. Shruti smriti puranari pancharatra vidivina aikantiki harir bhakti uttaparatyeva kalpate. He clearly mentions in this verse that one must refer to the Vedic literature and other supplementary literatures and follow the conclusion of the Vedas. Uninvented devotional attitude simply creates disturbances in the transcendental realm. If a person overly addicted to family life takes to Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna consciousness to earn a livelihood, his activity is certainly offensive. One should not become a caste guru and sell mantras for the benefit of mundane customers. Not should one make disciples for a livelihood. All these activities are offensive. One should not make a livelihood by forming a professional band to carry out congregational chanting, nor should one perform devotional service when one is attached to mundane society. Friendship and love. Nor should one be dependent on so-called social etiquette. All of this is mental speculation. None of these things can be compared to unalloyed devotional service. No one can compare unalloyed devotional service, Krishna consciousness, to mundane activities. There are many unauthorized parties pretending to belong to Sri Chaitanya cult, and some are known as Aula, Baula, Kartabaja, Neda Darvesha Shani Sahajia Saki Beki Smarta Jata Gosani Ativadi Chudadari and Goranga Nagari. Okay. Yes. Oh yes, there is also some famous verse about these different offenders. Yes. There was some famous verse about this. These famous offenders. Karta Bhaja and so on. All this, all Bala, Karta Bhaja, all these types of offenders. Okay. Now I will continue to read this purport the next time. It is just a little bit late now, so I will just again say some verse from Shikshastakam, then sing the Nrsimhadeva Pranama and Nrsimhadeva song, and then come to an end. Yes, just a moment. So we see how really pure love to Krishna, pure devotional service, this is something which is very high level. For example, in every verse of Shikshastaka, the crying in separation of a pure devotee for Krishna, crying for Krishna in separation of a pure devotee is described in every verse of Shikshastaka. And for example, in verse 5, Ainanda Tundrakinkaram Patitamam Vishamavam Buddho Kripatava Pada Pankaja Saduristasham Vichintaya. Ainanda Tundrakinkaram Ainanda Patitamam Vishamavam Buddho Kripatava Pada Pankaja Saduristasham Vichintaya. Ainanda Tundrakinkaram Patitamam Vishamavam Buddho. Kripatava Pada Pankaja Saduristasham Vichintaya. Anantunчкинкарам Patitamam Vishambhavam Buddho Kripatava Pada Pankaja Staduristasham Vichintaya. O son of Maharajananda, O Krishna. Here it is not said directly Krishna in this verse, but it is obvious that O son of Nanda Maharaja means O Krishna actually. Yes. Somehow, O son of Maharajananda, somehow I have come to this position, to this situation in this world. But please, O Lord, be merciful to me and consider me as a particle of sand or a particle of dust affixed at your lotus feet, and in this way purchase me as your eternal servant. So we see how a pure devotee thinks, how a pure devotee is crying in separation from Krishna. This is the love of a pure devotee to Krishna, and there is no any material desire which is connected to this world in that love to Krishna. Of course, this is something which is this is a very high level, and as already mentioned, the topmost pure devotee is Srimati Radhika, which is on the first place in the heart of Sri Krishna, and after her are the other gopis of Vrindavan, and those are actually the topmost pure devotees. So we just those persons who are interested in bhakti yoga, actually they would like to uh, uh, maybe after many lifetimes, or how it is dependent on the will of God, on the will of Krishna, maybe after many lifetimes. One never knows when, but just a devotee of Krishna, a person who is interested in bhakti yoga, this person actually um, uh, wants to become a servant of Srimati Radhika, Paladasi of Srimati Radhika, a maidservant of Srimati Radhika, a Manjari, a maidservant of Srimati Radhika, which is not only a maidservant but a very close friend also. Um, so in this way, um, those persons who are interested in bhakti yoga, which is connected with the Rupanuga Bhakti, actually. Rupanuga Bhakti, this type of Bhakti Yoga, Rupanuga Bhakti, those persons would like to be Paladasi of Srimati Radhika, Manjari of Srimati Radhika, and in this way, in their eternal spiritual form in Vraja Lila, they would like to be a part of Madhurya Rasa, to be to be to live together with um, with to live together uh, with the divine couple in their spiritual form. So they would like to become manjaris, very close friends and servants of Srimati Radhika, maidservants and friends of maidservants of Srimati Radhika, actually. So when it will happen, one never knows. It depends on the will of Krishna, on the will of Srimati Radhika, of course. But just this is actually the desire um, of the devotees in Rupanuga Bhakti. I will try to sing the Shri Stuti and come to an end. And I will sing very quietly because it's a little bit late. Namaste Narasihaya Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipuraksaha Shiratankanakaya Hiton Rishiha Paraton Rishiha Yata Yata Ton Rishiha Parinishimha Hridaya Rishiha Rishimha Madim Sharanyam Prabhadeva Tatarakamalabhare Nakaputashrinka Darita Hiranyakashi Tanobriya Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Namaste Narasihaya Namaste Narasihaya Prahlada Lada Davide Prahlada Lada Davide Hiranyakashipu Hiranyakashipu Shrilatanganakalaya Shrilatanganakalaya Iton Rishimo Paraton Rishimo Iton Rishimo Paraton Rishimo Yato Yato Yamitaton Rishimo Yato Yato Yamitaton Rishimo Bahir Nishimo Hridayen Rishimo Bahir Nishimo Hridayen Rishimo Rishima Madim Sharanyam Prapade Rishima Madim Sharanyam Prapade Tava Karakamalavare Nakama Bhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare 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 Shri Simha Janrishi Jaya Janrisimha Dev Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bhriya Shri Simha Janrisim Jaya Janrisimha Dev Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bhriya Shri Simha Janrisim Jaya Janrisimha Dev Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bhriya Shri Simha Janrisim Jaya Janri Simhade Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bhrihinga Nrisimhade Jaya Nrisimhade Jaya Nrisimhade Jaya Nrisimhade Jaya Pravat Nishinha Pravat Nishinha Pravat Nishinha Jaya Pravat Nishinha Lakshmi Nrisimha Lakshmi Nrisimha Lakshmi Nrisimha Jaya Lakshmi Nrisimha Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Guranita Jaya Guranita Jaya Guranita Jaya Sri Sri Guranita Jaya Guranita Jaya Guranita Jaya Guranita Jaya Sri Sri Guranita Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopinatha Jaya Radha Shyama Jaya Gokulananda Jaya Radha Gokulananda Jaya Radha Shyama Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Gopinatha Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Gopinatha, Jaya Radha Gopinatha, Radha Madhava, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. And I forgot to sing this song about the Purushottama Mass, this verse which must be sung 33 times in the Purushottama Mass. I forgot. I will sing it now very quickly. Well, actually, one can chant it or read it or recite it. But I will try to sing it. Just a moment. Yes. Well, maybe I don't know exactly. I think the Purushottama Mass. Well, unfortunately, I don't know if the Purushottama Mass is already over. Don't know exactly. I must look. Yes, but it's just so beautiful that I have the desire to sing it again. Govardhana Dharavande Gopalam Goparupina Gokulotsavamishana Govindan Gopika Priya 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 Govardhana Govardhana Dharavande Gopalam Goparupina Gokulotsavamishana Govindan Gopika Priya 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 Govardhana Dharavande Gopalam Goparupina Gokulotsavamishana Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Gopalam Goparupina, Gokulotsava Mishana, Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalango Parupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindango Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalango Parupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindango Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalango Parupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindango Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalango Parupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya Govardhana Dharavanda Gopalan Goparupena Gokulatsaha Mishana Govindan Gopi Gabriya. So that means I worship the lifter of Govardhana Hill, who has the beautiful form of a cowherd boy and who continually plays with the gopis. He is the Lord of Gokula, where every day is a festival. So, thank you so much for your attention. As I every time say, you all know I'm not qualified on such topics like Vedic literature and Vedic poetry. And if I try to say something on the Vedic literature or Vedic poetry, you should know I'm not trying to instruct anybody. I'm just only trying to understand these topics, Vedic literature, Vedic poetry, and comments on them. Of course, one have to try to understand these topics under the guidance of teachers, under the guidance of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus, all of you who are Vaishnavas in Rupanuga Bhakti, all of you, you are my gurus. I pay obeisances to you. Dandavat pranam. Vanchakapatirupascha kripasnukupeva patitinam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much for your attention.